I think of how this might pertain to this crisis of boys and men that more and more people are talking about. And I think, men in general are taught to be quite hard on themselves, to suck it up, to not emote, to not address any idea of vulnerability, sadness, or loss. And so because I'm working on a project as well, and so I've been speaking to a lot of experts and therapists that work specifically with men, and they say those that come into their practice are largely, especially the older ones, they're completely disconnected from how they feel. And so if
Totally.
someone like that has to engage in an act of self-compassion, I would imagine it would be super difficult, because you can't even, you don't even know where the self is in the world. So like, I
Totally.
wonder, is there any protocol that someone, will use the avatar of a man in this situation could do to start slowly cracking open that wall that could eventually lead to a world that
Yeah.
self-compassion is a practice?
That's again, another great question. I think there are again, a lot of different ways to engage it. What I would say could be a really helpful practice is to start tapping into the emotional experience. So, for example, the research shows that some of our most primary negative emotions are anger, sadness, and fear.
Right.
That's not all of them.
Yeah,
You
you
still
cut out a
with me?
second. Go ahead.
Sorry. You still with me? Yeah. Yeah. So the primary negative emotions are anger, sadness, and fear. What often happens for us, though, is that we are not aware that those negative emotions are within us, right? It's almost like hunger, right? If you go throughout your day and you are hungry, but you're not tending to the hunger pangs, right? What can often happen is then at the end of the day, you, let's say, go to a restaurant or you gorge, right? Or you make unhealthy choices because you haven't been tending to the hunger pangs, right? That have just been happening throughout the day. It's very similar to what can happen for us emotionally, right? Where we're experiencing all this sort of like emotional distress throughout the day, but we're not tending
Right.
to it. We're not even aware to tend to it, right? And so then what can happen is we explode, right? Or we shut down. We have some kind of disproportionate reaction to that emotional experience because we haven't been engaging it. So what we find is that when we can start really tapping into the negative emotional experience, what is linked to the negative emotional experience is some kind of unmet need. So what we know about anger is that often the unmet need in our experience of anger is worth, value, or dignity. If I am angry about something, it's because something I feel like either it's my worth or someone I care about's worth, value, or dignity is being violated. If it's sadness, then generally the unmet need and the negative emotion of sadness is connection. If it's fear, right, generally the unmet need in that negative emotion is safety.
Okay.
So I say all that because one of the practices that could be helpful in, a situation like you're describing where people, just have not been conditioned, don't have that awareness of their emotional experience is to really practice tapping into how do I feel? How have I felt? What is the unmet need here? What is the unmet need here? Do I feel like, if I've been angry about something, is there a worth issue here? Do I feel like my dignity has been violated or the dignity of somebody I care about has been violated? We have to then tend to these unmet needs, tend to the unmet need of value, worth, tend to the unmet need for connection, tend to the unmet need for safety.